I'm awash with the stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of the UK's second-largest city, Birmingham.
Previously in The Archers. Warrior Tracy checks on injured Clary, who has an adductor strain, not a groin injury. Clary reports that Oliver looks awful, exhausted and hardly eating. Hurt by her own situation, Tracy doesn't feel sympathy. Susan's aghast to see Clary turns up at work and insists she is fine with Adam's reporting, with Pat worried about Clary. Adam showing a client around the farm as Helen's desperate to find new customers. Tracy tells Susan about Roy trying to make waves at Grey Gables by involving a solicitor. New face Adil Shah has got Tracy's backup, but more happily, Lily has agreed to recommend Tracy for a telesales job. Brian and Stella discuss the spring barley at home farm, which is coming along nicely. Stella knows about rumors going around about slurry and distracted looking. Brian admits he has other things on his mind, namely the impact of Alice's divorce on the farm business. Hopefully for Stella, she'll keep her job. Brian feels he'd be less vulnerable if he hadn't set up the family partnership, and regrets Alice marrying on a whim with no prenup. Brian is going to call an accountant friend, but Stella warns Brian not to muddy the waters by involving friends and give Chris any legal ammunition. Stella may have spotted something to work in Brian's favor, a legal provision for the rest of the family to buy out Alice's partnership share and leave Chris unable to make a claim. Brian will start with Adam and Ian and thanks Stella for giving him a ray of hope. Thank you for listening, and now I will leave you with the episode of The Archers.
This is the BBC.
This podcast is supported by advertising outside the UK.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
You're listening to Tuesday's episode of The Archers from BBC Radio 4.
So come on, Tracy. Don't keep me hanging on. I thought it was some kind of emergency when I got your text.
Not an emergency. Good news.
You've won on the Euro Millions.
Not quite.
50 quid in a scratch card.
No. I've got an interview, Jazz.
What? Tracy, that's bra. What's it for?
Selling kitchens on the phone. You know, the form I was filling in while you did the washing up.
They didn't waste much time.
Lily phoned first thing. She spoke to her manager yesterday and they said they'd see me today. I really owe her one.
Good for Lily. What time's the interview?
2:30. That's why I'm in such a panic.
Oh, you've no need to panic. You'll smash it.
Roy already got back to me. He says it's fine for me to leave work early.
I think so.
Susan's dropping round a jacket for me. I'm hoping it might go all right with my work skirt.
I don't know why you're fretting. You'd look good in a sack.
Not this morning. Everything I try on looks rubbish. I've got to make the right impression. What about these shoes? Do you think they'll be smart enough?
Nothing about a spit and polish won't sort.
Mind you, it's not going to matter how smart I look if I don't have anything to say.
Tracy Horniman with nothing to say. That'll be the day.
You know what I mean, though. What if they make it sound all fancy and I have to ask them what they mean and I still don't understand?
You are one of the smartest, sharpest women I know. You don't need a load of fancy words to impress them.
You think? There you go.
Ta, if they ask you about what you're good at, tell them straight. MD that can organise a bunch of wrinklies into a cricket team can sell a few kitchens.
Go on then. Ask me a question.
Tell me about a difficult customer at work.
There are no difficult customers, just difficult situations.
You've got the job.
Jazzer!
How's Stella getting on? Oh, good. Good. She's juggling a lot at the moment.
I've heard grumblings in the village about slurry trucks.
Yes. Yeah, she mentioned that to me. That we've got more pressing issues than sorting out the village rumour mill.
Yeah, you said you had something you wanted to talk about. I'm happy to go over anything with Stella when she's back.
Well, it's more a question for you and Ian.
Ian?
Yes. How's he getting on?
Well, he was flawed at first, but I think he's gradually coming round to the idea of having a break from the stress. He said for a few years now that being head chef is a young man's game.
Do you think he'll go for another hotel job?
Oh, I'm not sure. It's early days, but his redundancy payout does mean we have options. Brian,
Yes?
the reason you asked me here, I'm assuming it wasn't just to ask after Ian's health.
No.
Is it Alice?
Well, sort of. Actually, it's Chris. Adam, I'm so sorry, but he wants to take us to the cleaners.
Wow. I had the feeling things were getting messy. But surely he won't be able to do too much damage?
I'm afraid he will. And you might just be able to find us a way out.
We're delighted you could come in at such short notice.
Oh, that's no problem. I was pleased to hear back so quickly.
Well, Lily gave you such a glowing reference. We didn't want you to be snapped up by anyone else.
Oh.
She says you work with her brother.
Freddie. Yeah, we both work at Grey Gables. Well, worked. I don't know if Lily told you that it's closing down.
She did. Said that's why you're looking for another position. It's a real shame. My sister had her wedding reception there.
Oh, yeah, it was a total shock. But, you know, you pick yourself up and all that.
Absolutely. So, should we get started?
OK, thanks. Yeah.
Can you start by telling me a bit about yourself?
Right. Well, I'm a single mum, which gives you all the skills you need for basically any job, if you ask me. Patience, endless energy, troubleshooting.
I couldn't agree more. I've got 2 teenagers, and they are far more challenging than any paying job I've ever had.
Yeah. Well, I've done loads of different things in my life, which means I've got loads of skills and can work with all kinds of people. And my job at Grey Gables has really built on this, you know, brought it all together.
Tell me a bit about that.
Well, I've become confident enough to know that I can do a great job and face whatever's thrown at me. I mean, like challenges. I work hard, I'm honest, and I learn quickly. Am I rambling on too much?
Not at all. Now, give me a second while I get the paperwork out. I have a list of questions we ask all candidates, and I'll make some notes as I talk.
Great.
So, let's get the official business out of the way, and then you can tell me why we'll be lucky to have you as part of our team.
OK.
You're Tracy Horrobin, number 6, the Green Ambridge.
That's right.
Tracy Horrobin. I thought so.
Is something wrong?
I've just realised who you are. Oh, I thought you looked familiar, but I just couldn't quite place you. It's no blue eyeshadow or chewing gum.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure we have met before.
We have, definitely. I'm Tam Brownlow, as was. I sat next to you for Geography GCSE.
Did you?
It's easy for you to forget the mousy little girl who always did her homework. Less likely that I'd forget a Horrobin. I was always secretly impressed that you couldn't care less about getting into trouble.
Tam Brownlow. I do remember you. You liked horses.
That's right.
You used to draw them all over your pencil case.
My husband and I have a small riding stable just the other side of Little Croxley. Both our girls ride.
That's great.
And you're still at the same house?
Yeah, I live with my dad.
And your brother, Gary, was it? Where's he these days?
He lives with us too.
Oh. Well, it must be nice to bring your kids up with family around them.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Anyway, right, let's get on. It might be easier to answer the questions as if we've never met, as if I know nothing about you.
As I understand it, The farmland and the properties are entered as assets into the overall value of the business.
Worst case scenario?
Oh, well, home farm will be divided up and some elements sold off. Unless, that is, the remaining partners can raise the money to buy Alice's share.
When is the valuation?
Well, we think it's the week after next. And once all the figures are in, the report should take another 4 weeks, and then it all goes to the family court.
And everything's taken into account when coming up with the final valuation?
Yes.
So you thought of us. Ian and me.
Yeah, well, I've spoken to your mother today, and to Stella.
Oh.
Well, it's the only way we can see of protecting the farm. It will need everyone to put in what they can.
No, Brian.
Oh, hear me out. Look, I know you've struggled recently. But with Ian likely to get a decent severance deal, would you consider investing?
I couldn't ask Ian to do that. We're already making plans about what we want to do with that money. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And this is hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime crisis.
Look, it's our chance to invest in something for our future. Ian, me, Xander.
Yeah, but putting money into home farm now will likely be the most prudent thing you can do as parents. It's bound to be part of Xander's inheritance. If we let Chris's Rottweiler solicitor rip the farm apart, there may be nothing left to leave to Xander.
Yeah, we're talking about something that may not affect Xander for decades. The plans Ian and I are making are about now. I can't ask Ian to hand over his money for something so intangible.
Ian's a smart man. At least let him be part of the decision.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
That's okay. I'll ask it again. What example can you give of having won over a resistant customer?
I think if I had a customer who was... It would depend on... Sorry. Could you say it one more time?
Do you need to take a break, Tracy?
No, sorry. It's fine. No, I've got it now. There are no difficult customers, only difficult situations.
That's great. But that's not quite what I was asking. The question was, what example can you give of having won over a resistant customer?
I'm sorry. Can we come back to it?
Of course. Let's try another. How would you stay up to date with the latest kitchen technology?
I would. The latest technology. At Grey Gables, I had to learn quickly about every area of the hotel. It was no good me just knowing about reception. I had to be a bit of an expert on everything.
Right. But this is about the latest kitchen technology.
I'm sorry. There's no point me pretending. I don't know anything much about kitchen technology.
The question isn't about technical knowledge. I'm just trying to find out how you would approach dealing with a question you couldn't answer yourself.
Right. Sorry.
Do you feel able to continue, or should we leave it there?
It's all right. I'm sure it's not that bad. Come on.
It is that bad. It's worse. My mind went blank and I froze. And what I did say was gibberish.
I'm sure you're being too harsh on yourself.
You weren't there. When I first went in, it was going all right. And then the woman, Tam, she said she knew me from school, and she did. I remember her. I couldn't pretend anymore.
Pretend what?
That I'd be good enough.
Did she say something to you because...
No, it wasn't like that. She was nice. But I knew what she was thinking. Tracy Orabin, school dropout, still living with her dad and brother.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But that's the real me, Jazzer. I felt like she could see right through me.
Well, if she could, she'd see what a warm, generous woman you are. Strong, passionate.
Yeah. Delegate, communicate. Couldn't say any of that stuff because I know what I am. I'm a woman with a broken washing machine, empty shelves in the freezer and a big bag of carrots and potatoes I bring out for every bloody meal.
Tracy!
I owe money for Brad's school lunches and I have absolutely no savings. Not a penny. Even Dad's jackpot change jar is empty.
But that's not who you are. You're the brilliant, fearless Tracy Horriban, and you should never forget that.
You have to say something nice, but it's not true. Tam, little mousy Tam Brownlow, who did her own work and kept out of trouble, she has a husband and a business and horses that her daughters ride. And I don't even have a jacket of my own, unless you count the one with grey gables embroidered on the front. I have to borrow my sister's clothes just so I can go to an interview.
Doing 2 months, not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for him finding out.